population. We're being told that basically the oil is going to force an evacuation. It's looking like of the Texas, some of those southern states there. Have you heard anything to that effect?
No, but my opinion is they'll never get away with any elimination of population.
Okay. And you think why? Because the ETs will prevent it?
Right.
Okay. Is there any specific ET race that you're talking about that you think is in more or less?
The Greys are in charge of the containers. They're the ones that give us the checks. They're the ones that if you're in an accident and you're killed, they're the ones that make you live again if you haven't completed your specific job in life. In other words, everything is written beforehand. There's a script, and we're playing out that script. And if you haven't completed what you were sent here to do, then it's the Gray's job to be sure that if you haven't died when you're supposed to, they cause the accident that will kill you, or if you die when you're not supposed to, they're the ones that make you live. Like there's plenty of stories of people in airplane crashes that walk out in a bubble of cool air and they have no explanation for it, that kind of thing.
Okay, and are you aware that the Greys are run by the reptilians?
It's a possibility, but I really don't know who's above them and who controls the soul. It's the guys that control the soul that are the guys above the Greys.
Okay. What about the economic situation? Obviously, they're changing the currency at some point. You believe in the one world government. You think that's going to happen?
No, not for many, many, many years. Same thing as disclosure. I don't know, these guys, they're not thinking, but there's going to be no disclosure for the next 4 to 6 decades.
4 to 6 decades. So you're talking about
60 years.
Next 60 years.
There's not going to be any disclosure.
Okay.
There's no need for a disclosure.
Okay. Why? Because you think you think they already know, or you think that they just don't?
The people that basically want disclosure is the people who found out that, yeah, there are aliens, and they think that everybody has a right to know. Well, they really don't, This is a secret project. This is a nursery. Our souls are meant to mature, and we're not supposed to know about aliens yet. So there has to be a lot more maturing to go on before we're going to be told about any aliens.
Okay, I've got a question here. This is kind of out there, but this person is asking whether or not you've heard anything about the Queen stepping down from the throne.
No, I haven't heard nothing about
that. Well, I think in a sense she's already stepped down. Okay. Do you realize, or do you think about the Greys in terms of being what's called programmed life forms, or yes. In other words, entities that are basically sort of bioengineered, and they don't have a soul themselves?
Right. They're cybernetic organisms, and they're here to do one job, and that's to take care of the containers.
Okay, but you don't see them. Are you aware of I don't know if you're aware of Laura Knight Jedzik and her research into the Greys and into the fact that they basically feed on our emotions.
I used to believe that, but that's not true.
Okay, and what changed your mind?
Well, basically what Sleeper said, told us that they're here to take care of the the containers, and they don't feed off anything. When I first got into this UFO stuff, I remember Linda Howe saying that the Greys were on the backside of a bell-shaped curve, and that they were a dying race, and what they wanted to do is use our DNA and whatever to help them survive, and that's all baloney.
Okay. What about, I've got somebody asking, I don't know, do you think anything about the total solar eclipse? I don't know. I guess that's coming. I guess I'm not sure what the person is referring to, but I imagine they might be talking about the coming eclipse. We're having an eclipse, a solar eclipse here in July, the end of July. And there's a lineup.
I heard something about that, and then it coincided with a date of something else. And I don't know, I don't have any opinion on it. There's eclipses of the sun occurring all the time.
Are you aware of the work that we did? We did an interview with Paul LaViolette in regard to the superwave. Are you aware of that?
No.
Okay. There's said to be a superwave that happens periodically, comes from the center of the galaxy from a black hole, that it's almost like an eruption, and it sends waves out. Supposedly, he says in a non cyclical manner, and that it could happen at any time. Some people feel that it's happening now or very shortly. It's also part of the whole 2012 and moving into the future, the galactic plane.
No, my answer to that was, my opinion is that it's all BS. That's no truth to that.
Okay. Okay, I'm trying to see if there's any other questions here that are making any sense. Yeah, okay. Well, that's what we've got coming in so far, and I don't see anything else here. So you tend to have believed a lot of what Sleeper said just because it kind of hit a nerve, so to speak, right?
Right.
Okay.
Now, what he says is it just rings a bell. It rings true. Everything he says, it rings true. So that's why I believe what he says. Now, whether it really is true, who knows? But I believe it.
What about MJ12? They're not called that now. I think they're calling themselves Scion. But you know what's going on with them lately?
No, I do know that they're letting more civilians in than they used to. What's his name? The guy up at that used to work up at S4, not Lazar, but who's the guy that used to work with
Dan Burish.
What's that?
You mean Dan Burish?
Dan Burish, yeah. Yeah, he's the one that mentioned that.
Right. Well, I mean, he and Marcia, are members of MJ12, what in essence is called Scion now. But we heard I heard from an insider that there was basically a sort of a takeover within their ranks.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Okay. But I'm understanding that they kind of leave you alone right now.
They leave me alone?
Yeah.
I don't remember anybody bothering me.
Okay, well, when we were filming at your house, there were a lot of very strange goings on, and you also said that there was evidence that you were being tapped into in terms of surveillance. There was
absolutely.
Telephone.
Yeah, they listen to everything I say or do,
right. And you've never been recruited? You've never been recruited by them because wasn't your father in MJ12?
No. My dad was one of the primary contractors for anti-gravity, and I forget what the name of the project was in 1952. But he never discussed it with me. And the only thing he ever discussed with me is he believed that there were flying saucers. And that's all I knew. But looking back, I mean, all the guys that hung around the house where we lived, 222 14th Street in Santa Monica, I mean, they were all associated with or MJ12. For instance, Vandenberg had, what was his first name? Do you remember?
Not Vannevar Bush. You're not talking about him.
No,